Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So this is going to be one of those more like chill, chatty videos, and I want to talk about books in this video. I get a lot of questions about book recommendations, and in case you didn't know, oh my god, how are my books not in this? You guys, like, my books are right there. I mean, that's like half of my collection, maybe. I have a lot of books. I'm a book nerd. I'm an English major, so books are very important to me. Literature, the written word, is very important to me. So know that when you ask me for, I really considered becoming a librarian. I just want you to know. I thought about it, but I ended up going back the literature route. But anyway, so when you guys ask me for book recommendations, I take it very seriously, and I have quite a number of books, and I want to share that with you, share some recommendations for you wherever you are on your path of learning astrology. And I say this like with a grain of salt. I really doubt that somebody with 30 years of experience is watching my channel, so I'm pretty sure that wherever you are along your path, I will have a recommendation for you. And that is true even if you're a Virgo. I have a very special Virgo recommendation in this video. Also, I wish that you guys could like tell me not to slouch. I'm gonna try my best not to slouch because this stool doesn't have a back, so whatever. Okay, so the reason why I'm also making this video is because I want to talk a little bit about why astrology doesn't get the respect it deserves, and I want to give my opinion, my 2 cents about that, and I want you guys to tell me in the comments what you think about this. I know that there are going to be people who are going to have strong opinions. If you guys watch this video and you make it through the video, let me know in the comments what you think about it. So I think that one of the reasons why astrology doesn't get the respect that it deserves is that there are so many people talking about astrology, and each one has a different level of expertise. And there are people who have very little expertise and who are speaking very loudly. And I would never be the kind of person to be like, you shouldn't talk about astrology, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, because I'm a Sagittarius and I love talking, and I'm sure wherever I was on my journey, I was talking about astrology, and I'm pretty sure I said some boneheaded things in the past, or things that had no like backing, and I mean, I said them, right? Thankfully they're not on video, I hope. So as people progress on their journey of learning astrology, they hopefully become better and better. And the only way that you can become better, in my opinion, is through diligent study, through quality books. And we're going to be talking about quality books in this video, because anybody could self-publish now. Like, anybody could have an ebook, or anybody could have a physical copy of a book. And that does not make you a qualified astrologer, somebody who has like the level of knowledge necessary to teach it, right? So I'm going to talk about sources and kind of talk about some tips on how you can judge the quality of the sources that you're using, because there are very experienced astrologers on YouTube. I am not very experienced, I'm experienced. And there are like people with many years, decades of experience sharing their knowledge on YouTube. And there are people who are very experienced who are just like doing forecasts, and you can't really learn from them. And then there are very inexperienced people all over the internet, on social media, and they're just going with it. They're teaching astrology and people want to learn, right? So I don't think there's anything wrong with learning from everyone. Everyone has something to teach. I definitely believe that. But I do think that you should mix some primary sources in there. If you don't know primary sources, secondary sources, astrology has primary sources that like date back centuries and centuries. And I think it's really important to at least have a look at that and know the foundational facts about astrology that come from centuries ago, and not just from people who are talking about it on Tumblr. Even though there are some really good accounts on Tumblr and on Instagram and all over the place, right? But I think that we should have a mix, right? Some high culture, some low culture, just throw it all together so that our knowledge is more robust, right? So that we know what the hell we're talking about. So that said, let's talk first about how, let me drink some tea, I'm sorry. I feel like Kellyanne Maddox I feel like I should say something British now. Great. chamomile tea. So the first thing to know whenever you are picking up an astrology book is that you need to look at the publisher. So there's this very famous book called The Only Astrology Book You'll Ever Need. And that is like the first thing that anybody looks at. I think I got that book when I was in high school. I got that book. Yeah, and it's definitely not the only astrology book you'll ever need. It's just like an introduction to all the signs, and it's a great place to start if you are like a high school student who is just starting with astrology. I had my copy of mine and I gave it to one of my students who loved astrology, Ben, who probably doesn't watch my videos because he's probably really busy and has other things to do. But yeah, that's a great book if you are like very young and that's where you want to start, like with a primer. That's a great primer on all of the signs, and that's pretty much what you could get from that book. But if you look at the publishers of that book, I'm pretty sure it has like a regular publisher, because there are like the more esoteric publishers, and those are the ones that are going to publish the hardcore books, like the real good stuff, the stuff that isn't for the common public, the stuff that is for astrologers, for astrology students, and not for people who are interested in horoscopes, right? So I'm assuming that if you're on this channel and if you're watching this video, you are a student of astrology, you want to be a student of astrology. I consider myself a forever student of astrology. And you don't just want to listen to your horoscope. I don't really do horoscopes on this channel. I don't. And that's not what I like to do with astrology as of now. Maybe one day I'll dabble in that department. So if you really want to learn astrology, then you have to get the good books. You have to get the books that aren't meant for just the average layman person who wants to read their horoscope or who wants to know about their boyfriend. No, like you want the publishers. I'm gonna leave a lot of resources in the description. Like some publishers, like Llewellyn is gonna be a really good one, and Whitford Press is another one. I have several from Whitford Press, and we'll get into that. I'll put that in the description. So yeah, always make sure that you are looking at the quality of the sources you are reading, and like do your due diligence also with the astrologers that you listen to, right? Because I like to listen to all sorts of things. I actually don't listen to any podcasts, and recently I discovered a podcast from an astrologer, like a modern astrologer, and I was curious. I was like, let's see what she is doing, and I was listening, and I heard a lot of stuff that wasn't like accurate, and I was like, this person's famous. I'm just like, and nobody fact checks her because nobody knows better. I swear if there was a comment section, the Virgos would be in the comment section being like, why? I love Virgos because Virgos always ask you why. How do you know? Where is this coming from? They always want to know why. And I really like that. As a Sagittarius, I want to have like vast knowledge, but I want to know where it comes from. I don't want to just be talking shit on the internet, you know? So make sure that you are checking out the sources that you are, learning from, and make sure that, it's coming from a reliable source and that they're getting their information from a reliable source. I really recommend books. Books aren't the only place to learn, but definitely like a good book is going to teach you way more than you can learn from a few YouTube videos, in my opinion. But I will say I get a lot of my information, and then you have other people that and then people tell me, like other people who like to argue with me will be like, you get everything from books, and I'm just like, actually, like I learn from the books and then I digest it, and then I just like I sit with the energy. I hate to say that because that sounds like so woo-woo, and I'm a Capricorn rising, so I like to be concrete about what I'm saying. But yeah, I definitely like sit with the energy, and I let the planets and the signs like do their thing within me, and then I feel like I really know it. Like I feel like I've experienced the energy of the sign and the planet, and then I could really speak on it. And when people ask me questions about things that I have not like digested, I'm not going to talk about them. Like people want to know about Lilith, and I'm right now in the process of digesting Lilith. There are some conflicting opinions on how important Lilith is. Guys, there's a lot of asteroids. There's a lot of, hypothetical points. You know, there's a lot of stuff. People think that it's just the signs, and then other people think it's just the planets. No, there's a lot of stuff, guys. Astrology is vast. And I'm the type of person that I want to have like a strong handle on something before I speak on it. Not because I don't want somebody to be like, oh, that's wrong, but because like I want the stuff that comes out of my mouth to be worth your time. Like I don't want to waste your time with nonsense, right? So if I don't talk about it, or if you ask me about it and I'm just like, you know what, I don't know, I'm gonna read about it, it's because I'm not really sure yet. So now let's get into the books. So the first book that I'm going to recommend, if you are starting out with astrology and you don't know how to read a birth chart, this is the book that you should get. I got this book when I first got serious about astrology. I knew about the sun, the rising, everything. I knew about that. I had a whole chart for a while now, like since I moved to Louisiana. So I don't know, it was years. It's been years. Like, is it 10 years now? I don't know. It's been a while. But I didn't really know how to read a chart like fully until I read this book. And this was my first like dabble into really learning how to read a chart. And this is called Astrology for Yourself. It's a workbook. It's by Demetra George and Douglas Block. Demetra George is amazing. Any book by her is worth a lot. Like it's very important. She's an amazing astrologer. And this book shows you how to read the birth chart, like basically a basic look at how you can read a birth chart. It has a lot of really good keywords and a lot of like reference stuff, and you could write in it or you can just make copies or just use it. And this is pretty in-depth. It's an in-depth look for the beginner. If you are a beginner and you don't know how to read a chart, then this is the first book you need to get. Like this one, you need it. And then after that, or if you already know how to read a chart, and sometimes you don't know where you are along your journey. Sometimes you think you can read a chart, but you can't. And also, that's why going to astrology school was so useful, because I thought I'm a Sagittarius. I think I know everything. And then I got there, and then I had this teacher named Karen who's like, no, you actually don't. You don't know shit. She was actually really hard. She's another Sagittarius. And she crushed you a little bit, but it made you grow and learn. And getting that feedback from somebody else, somebody who's more knowledgeable than you, that is really important, because you're good all day long. Like you think you know stuff, but if nobody has challenged you on your knowledge, then what do you really know? Like if you cannot defend your position to somebody who knows more than you do, then what do you really know? Not much. And in my first classes, this book, this is, okay, if you already know how to read a chart and you are serious about becoming a student of astrology, Horoscope Symbols by Robert Hand. Robert Hand is my favorite astrologer. He's a Sagittarius. He's amazing. He uses whole sign houses for people who are curious about I use whole sign houses. I'm not going to get into the Virgo details about why, but basically all astrologers who have been practicing for decades have used all of the systems. Nobody's just like, oh, I was born using Placidus and I've been using Placidus all along. And nobody's like, I was born using whole. No, maybe some people, maybe the Hellenistic people have like been like on whole and they just will never change. But I use whole sign houses and it works for me. Horoscope Symbols is a further look at reading the chart. It talks about all of the symbols, those are the planets and the signs and the aspects. All of that is in this book. I don't know where to look, guys. That's why I'm like looking at like funky places, but I'm trying to look in your eyes. But this is an amazing book. If you want to spend, I think it's like $25. I'm not sure. I mean, it says here 25, but it might be less. And if you just want to get one book and you already know more or less how to read a chart, if you know what a chart looks like and everything, then get this book. This is an amazing, amazing book. So that's the second book. And then this is the book for like people who just want to dabble in astrology. And this book is useful just to learn. Honestly, I read it like twice. I looked at it twice and I thought it was really funny and fun and interesting. Now that I've studied astrology at school and I've gotten feedback and I've read like a lot of charts now Now I don't need to like compare love compatibility because I know the symbols, like I know the planets, the ruling planets, and I know the temperaments of the signs. So I don't really need this to tell me like whether two signs are compatible. And compatibility is a whole like, it's a whole stew of things. It's not just one thing. So if you want me to make a video on compatibility, like how to find like a more complete picture of compatibility, let me know in the comments, because I can speak on that. But yes, this is a good fun book if you want to just like mess around and just be like, oh, what would it be like dating a Taurus? What would it be like dating a Capricorn? Whatever. And it does all the combinations. This is by Linda Goodman. It's really good. She did sun signs. She does several books. She's a good astrologer, and this is kind of like pop astrology, but a little bit more deep than pop astrology. Like, you know, it's not just nonsense. It's not completely watered down. It's a big fat book. So this is a fun book, and you can get it used for not that much money. This was $9, you know. So this is a fun book if you're young and you just want to have fun with astrology, which some people do. Then you can get that book. And then this one, if you know your astrology, you know how to read a chart more or less, and you want a good reference book, this one was recommended by my teacher, who, this teacher that I had, she was like, there was 2 teachers in that class, and one of them gave the class and the other one gave us feedback. And she would give the most thorough feedback. She would like go into my essays and be like, this is wrong and this is why. Tell me why this. And those classes that I took with her were worth like the entire money that I paid for all the program, because of that feedback. Like imagine like an experienced astrologer telling you why your I have trouble with that word, delineations are wrong, and telling you how to fix them or how to make them stronger, and she'll also tell you where you're right, which is really good too, like to be a balanced teacher. So she was really amazing. And I have this thing where I can pretty much tell you what planet or what sign rules a certain thing without looking it up. I just know, like, I don't know, because I have Mercury in the 12th house, so it's kind of intuitive, and I can intuitively figure things out. If you have a Pisces Mercury or Mercury in the 12th house, this might be true for you, or Neptune with your Mercury. You can just kind of intuit things. And like the butterfly thing, like butterflies being ruled by Gemini, being associated with Gemini, it's in this book. I found it out after saying that in one of my videos, and because Geminis just remind me of butterflies, like it's so Gemini. So yeah, this is a great reference book if you want to know who rules hearts, who rules the color yellow, who rules candles, what is ruled by your left finger, like seriously, like your left phalange, like no, like the left index, or any little thing that you want to know who rules it, it's in here. It's the rulership book by Rex E. Bills. It's amazing, and I don't know how much it costs. $23, 24. It was on Amazon. It's really, really good. It comes in alphabetical order, and then it comes in alphabetical order, and I think it has it also by planets, and the houses are also in here. It's all the signs, all the symbols. Highly recommend this book. Oh shit, this video is getting kind of long. And the last one, this book is for my Virgo people who are always asking me why, and I'm currently reading it, so I'm not done with it. So I don't know if I should include it in here, but I still am. This is a book that takes 12 astrologers with 12 different schools of thought, because remember, astrology is not just one thing. There's Jyotish or Vedic astrology, there's Hellenistic astrology, there's Uranian astrology, there's esoteric astrology. There's a lot of different kinds of astrology. And so they got this Raphael Nasser, who is a Virgo, brought together 12 amazing astrologers. And I say amazing because Stephen Forrest is in here, Robert Hand, Demetra George. Those are my favorite dudes and chicks and dudes, whatever. They brought them together and they had them read a chart blind. And it's like, so you're comparing what the different people said of this one person. And then at the end, the person is going to tell you their autobiography so that you could see who was more right. And I bet you $1 million invisible dollars that they were all right. They were, because they're experienced, they have decades of experience, and they're amazing astrologers. So I bet you they all came to the same conclusions, but they used different methods. And I'm so excited to finish this book. I'm barely like right here, so not much, but it's really, really good so far. And it also tells you, at the beginning, it talks about each astrologer, and they tell you kind of like their astrology journey and how they got into astrology. And that was really cool to read, because there's not a lot of information online about like the cool old school astrologers, you know, like the OGs of astrology. And that's like, you know, they're like my rock stars. So it was a really cool aspect of the book. And a lot of them are still alive. Like Stephen Forrest is alive. Robert Hand is like so amazing, and he's been practicing astrology since like the 60s or 70s. He's like this older gentleman, and he's like my rock star. So reading about them was really cool. And yeah, I mean, that's all that I have to say, guys. I hope you liked the video. I hope you are okay with me recording on my phone, and that this video is informative for you. And the next video, I hope, is going to be much better. Do you like this new setup? I moved my desk. I used to be in that corner over there, and this used to be like behind me. And now this is here, because I figure like this feels more like you're sitting down with me for like a session. And also when I have my computers here, so when I have my sessions, my Skype sessions, now I feel like come into my office. You know, that's how I feel when I'm talking to somebody. So that's it. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.